Presented by That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster, this is Shonen Jumping the Gun, the show where we set our sights on the first chapter of a manga and decide if it's a misfire or a bullseye.
Let's see how many rounds are in this magazine.
On today's episode, pet your doggos. It's Shiba Inu Rooms. Welcome, everybody. I am your wishing for as cheap rent prices as they are on this manga, Moxie the Yeen, here with my certified Borkbuster, Isekai Sensei-Sama Brad. Brad, how you doing? You got it. You figured it out then. You got your voice back. You could speak the whole time.
Oh, my God. I will get to it.
Oh, interesting. Okay. As stated, we are covering for the next part of our Fuck It We Ball arc, F It We Ball arc. This is Shiba Inu Rooms. This is, oh my goodness, this summer you've written. This was written and arted by Isu Omori and has been running in Jump Plus since June 2024 and has run for 27 chapters at time of this writing.
You're not allowed to say anything about the length of my
You are
summaries.
correct. I just got surprised is all.
I like to write stuff.
It's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I just cut this. And this is another one where I have read all of it and I've been loving it, and Brad hadn't been reading it, and this is a one where we were like, hey, what's something we're loving that the other one isn't really reading we haven't talked about to bring to the table. So this was mine specifically. Even though also technically Buggy Go was somewhat mine.
I suggested it, though.
You did, but I had already read it that time before you had suggested it. So it sounds like we have things to get into, which makes me very excited. So to get there, I'm going to start my Moxie's patented Mox Speed manga summary. Some people get their thrills from dangerous situations, some from a good book, and others still from a good scare. Horror is a very popular genre of movies and games, after all, but Koro Momose is not one of those people. In fact, you could probably say that she has a condition best described as horror numb. I could also maybe call it autism. So when she came across a listing, I say that lovingly, as a haver. So when she came across a listing for a very cheap apartment, like holy shit, very cheap, that had the caveat of being haunted, she thought it would be perfect. The problem is that this isn't a regular haunting. The spirits that haunt this apartment are not your standard apparitions or yokai. It is in fact a dog, a Shiba Inu to be exact. A Shiba Inu lives in this apartment. In every apartment in this building, these are the Shiba Inu Rooms. After learning about these dogs, Corey turns down the apartment as she has some issues with dogs. It's just not going to work out. But before she can leave, she's accosted by another resident who is very excited to have a nice new neighbor, or nextie as he calls it. Shibai is a bit excitable, this is being the other neighbor, and almost a Shiba Inu in human form, so getting a word in edgewise isn't going to work. But before Corey can properly explain that she is, in fact, not going to live there, Shibai explains that the ghost dogs can be accidentally exorcised by paying a lot of attention to them. They can be pleasured into the next dimension. But, like in petting, not like that. No, not like that. No, not like that. Let's try something else. They've actually decided to not pay enough attention to them because the dogs were abused by a terrible breeder while they were alive. So now that they have a second chance at life, they want to spoil them just enough to make them happy and enjoy life, but not so much that they no longer get to experience that happiness. The landlady finally gets enough time to explain that Corey isn't staying, but Corey interrupts, saying that she actually will stay. She doesn't say it out loud, but after learning that lots of affection can make the dogs ascend to heaven, she has a plan to immediately give the dog inhabiting her new apartment lots of love so it will move on. I want to say, wasn't rent like $40?
48.
$48. Oh, good Lord. I say I'd put up with anything, but probably not. But dear Lord, incredible.
And like they're nice too.
They're very nice apartments. Yeah. After moving in, Corey plans to get all the dog attention out of the way as quickly as possible so she can enjoy her new home. But there is one problem. Moo-chan, the pupper in her place, is a curmudgeon. Getting things off on the wrong foot. As soon as Corey tries to start petting Moo-chan, she gets bit on the right hand. The landlady and Shibai have shown up to give her a welcome dinner.
On the hand.
What? Didn't I say bit right on the hand?
On her right. You said on her right hand.
Oh, I mean, it might be her right. I don't remember. The landlady and Shibai have shown up to give her a welcome dinner, so they help bandage her wound. The landlady is surprised because she's never had trouble with Moo-chan, even if he was standoffish. During dinner and conversation, Corey let slip that she was trying to make Moo-chan ascend, to which Shibai is horrified. But Corey doesn't seem to care that much. But since Moo-chan has apparently taken up biting, they all agree that maybe it's for the best. Over the next few days, Corey tried multiple things to get Moo-chan to respond positively, from toys to treats and even an expensive steak dinner. But even when Corey tries to show how yummy the steak is, Moo-chan lunges and snaps at her. The landlady and Shibai show up because they smelled the steak. We're barging in, you're paying $40, we're entering. And after learning about what just happened, the landlady says it's time to call an exorcist. She's responsible for her residents' safety, and this has gone too far. What an absolute all-time legend of a landlord.
She's great. Yeah.
She's actually cares about her occupants. The next day, Mayo Moonhigh, the exorcist, shows up. Mayo?
Either way.
Okay. Mayo Moonhigh, Miami.
I was reading it as Mayo, but like it's also she's not there long enough that it matters.
Yeah. Mayo almost immediately pegs
Although
the
she'll
problem.
come back. That's definitely a design of a character that's going to come back.
I love her design. Mayo almost immediately pegs the problem not being Moo-chan, but the multi-headed snake yokai that is possessing Corey. She explains that it's easy enough to exorcise these since 3 of the 5 heads are already taken care of, and Corey realizes that Moo-chan attacking her was actually him attacking the snake. After the snake is exorcised, you didn't think this was going to be an exorcism series.
Hidden exorcist manga.
This wasn't the fucking We Ball arc. This was secretly a secret exorcist arc I started without Brad knowing. Mayo is about to leave, but inquires about how Corey may have been cursed. Corey tells everyone her sad backstory about being seen as creepy from her horror numbness, and how one day, to try and impress her friends, she went into an abandoned building on their insistence. Well, inside, she encountered stray dogs and was chased after, accidentally stepping on one of their tails. When she ran away, her friends got attacked too, and she was blamed for it by their parents. While she doesn't know for certain that it was any one of them that cursed her, the harassment she received was the whole reason she moved to this new city. After everybody leaves, Corey goes back in and finds Moo-chan waiting. He now accepts her touch. She thanks him for fighting the snake and asks if they can live together now. Moo-chan says they can. Oh yeah, the dogs can talk English, or I guess Japanese in this case, but they talk English to us because we're reading the English version. Corey is not amused. No one told her they could talk, and none of them talked to her. That would have made things easier, huh? Moo-chan says he didn't want to talk to her because of that gross snake thing, and because Corey said he was a bad dog after he hit her with a bone. But Moo-chan is sorry he hurt her and wants to make up and be friends. Between Moo-chan being a grouch and Corey having a cold personality, they may have a tough time. But Moo-chan wants attention, and Corey thinks that maybe, just maybe, she might not want Moo-chan to ascend. Brad, did you not like this? I'm getting a vibe, and I'm scared.
No.
Okay, good.
What?
I was getting nervous.
From what?
I don't know. I was getting scary vibes. It sounded like you had an axe you were grinding.
No, there was one thing that sort of pissed me off, but it's more just character stuff, which is the fact that no one told her that the dogs can talk, the fact that Moo-chan didn't say anything to her that whole time, and I know they explain it, and they're dogs. They still have dog brains.
Yes.
But like, oh my God, someone go, hey, you have a weird snake thing on you. Can't you see that?
Well, I mean, nobody else could have done that. I guess the
other dogs.
True. Okay. I'm going to give you.
She had dinner with them, and all those other dogs were there.
No, genuinely, I have a not very far off bit of future vision that helps with this situation. Genuinely, all the dogs can talk. Almost all of the dogs in the house have like a kindergarten, if not preschooler level, like cognition and communication level.
Yeah,
Moo-chan is like the only one who can speak like eloquent sentences at all. So like all of them are like tiny children.
None of the other ones reacted to her in that way.
There's also other I don't know how much to future vision you, because there was one other thing, is that there's a part where they're in the apartment, Shibai's apartment, and all of his dogs are there, and there's an error going, this is the landlady's dog. Is that, and maybe that dog is actually a dog. Is that part of the thing is that, except out of very specific circumstances we were in later, the dogs cannot leave their apartments.
Yeah, no, they say that at the beginning. And
they say they can't leave the building. But if the landlady's dog is in Shibai's apartment where they're eating with
Oh, I
Shibai's
see what you
dogs,
mean. Yeah,
but
yeah.
also her dog might just be a dog. I don't remember. We
Okay.
don't talk to her dog a lot, so because all the other ones are named.
Because they talk in the backstory where they're talking about the fact that it was an abusive breeder.
Yeah.
They're like, when they tried to remove the dogs, some of them they literally couldn't remove from the building, and those were all.
But yeah, you learn specifically they
ones.
can't leave the building, but it's more even specific than that outside of extreme circumstances they cannot leave.
And then in case you missed it, later, Corey is like, well, I can't take him for a walk.
Yes, correct. Yeah, again, you can't leave the building, but specifically he can't go to the other apartments.
By the way, can I just say, Ghost Dog would be the perfect dog to
because
have.
now you don't need it. It doesn't poop. You should feed it, but you don't need to feed
You don't
it.
have to feed it.
Yeah.
It
wants
can
to
just eat treats. You can just give it nice treats.
Right,
You don't have to worry about, I have to feed it 4 cups of food every day.
It can't die.
From this giant bag.
Health things cannot kill it. It can only die from being happy or until it hits its time. It is kind of the perfect pet.
Yeah. It's too bad it has to have horrible suffering to get to that point.
Oh, yeah, to have caused it to become a ghost like this,
Right.
yeah. I think also, in your summary it doesn't come up, but the Mu-chan's face also feels like it's based on some sort of thing, but it's like, was it an onomatopoeia for scowling or something?
Yes, yeah.
But he makes a really specific face that, like, feels like something that's, like, specifically, like, a Japanese, like, art face thing.
Yeah.
In the way that you see that face that is made up of hiragana or katakana, like, you know that face.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You've seen it. I
Yeah.
think we literally saw it in Naruto when we were reading that for Magdum. But yeah, I guess more specifically, what did you think of Shiba Inu Rooms?
I liked it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I thought you had a thing to grind.
No, just specifically the thing about them not talking. I was just like,
yeah.
Which,
yeah.
I mean, this is ostensibly comedic.
Yeah, I guess so. It's not a comedy. I'm saying, like, funny
it's
things
not a
can
comedy.
happen.
And which was a little strange to me because the art style and sort of the setup for a lot of stuff felt gaggish to me, but it's not.
Contrived is maybe not the word I want to use, but like, yeah, it feels like I'm setting up dominoes to play with later, and it is, but it's less for telling jokes and more for setting up story opportunities of like, there's more, I mean, you don't learn that, but it's like, there's more people living in this apartment building, and there's a bunch of backstory you kind of get hinted at, but don't spend enough time with because you don't need to.
So there's definitely a lot of comedic bits in it, and I think,
yeah,
you know, there's a lot that goes into that it's hard to describe. I mean, there's the setup for it, like the backstory of all of this is very
so
sad,
grim.
But then, like, they're obviously, I mean, Shibai is having a grand old time. Like,
it is between that and other things. I think it's a series that is genuinely very slice of life and heartwarming, but will not get away from, is not trying to completely ignore like negative feeling moments.
right.
And I think it takes those in well and processes them. I mean, well, I think that's one of the series' strengths is that it can do that and feel, because it makes it, when a character learns something and reaches the end of a lesson, you feel it more because you got to like spend time with like actively screwing it up in a way that felt like something. It feels more genuine and real.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Satisfying. I don't want to talk too much with how much future vision I have because I've like 20 some chapters of future vision.
Yeah, what is it? But there's it's like 22 chapters or something that are out.
Yeah,
which
like
I was sort of surprised about because I've been hearing about this one for a while, but I guess it's
22 chapters coming out maybe every other week.
Yeah.
That's almost a year.
Yeah. And that was the thing, because I thought it has been coming out for a while, and it has.
Yeah, time moves by.
But it's just not as many chapters. And honestly, when I saw how many chapters it was and then read the first chapter, I was like, oh, I'm going to, spoilers, I'm going to read all of this.
Yay!
Because there's, like, this is a good amount to I can just get through, and I don't have to, like, have my weird too many chapters bullshit about.
not that I read a lot of slice of life, but this genuinely is one of my favorites. The way they do things, like, again, I'm gonna try to ask you the questions then before I future vision too much. And like, I kind of joked about this in the summary, but reading this when I was figuring out that probably I have autism, it's really hard to not read it in her and Mu-chan, but in like a smaller way where it's like you can see this behavior in a child and then kind of reflect on it in yourself and come to like a better understanding and peace in yourself and the thing that you're dealing with in that same moment. And it was just very like, oh, like, I don't know. It just made everything feel more heartwarming.
Well, if Mu-chan's autistic, it didn't make me feel bad.
What? No, but also he's a little bugger sometimes. He's a little freaking nugget occasionally. He's constantly scowling, but it's just like he feels his feelings strongly, but also sometimes he's a dingus.
The scowls are really good.
They're very, his name, he's literally named for them.
Yeah.
Where do you think we're going?
Well, you already spoiled some of it.
There's still a bunch I didn't.
The big thing for me was like, wait, there's only 3 of them here? At which point I was like, where do you go with that? There's not a whole lot you can do. But if the building's bigger, if you get to go through more people, that makes a lot more sense that you can like have more storylines to go through.
Try to paint or predict one of the other co-inhabitants.
A big, either fat or strong bald man who
are you in this manga?
Whose dog that's with him is like a very dainty, like little girl one who is, and so he's got a juxtaposition of personality where he's like into frilly and girly things.
I'm sad that's not one of the bits. I really love that, actually. I really love that a lot.
Well, one of them's got to be a salaryman who's just like depressed. No?
No. Everybody's pretty good. Some guy makes bread. He's not very good at it, but he makes bread. Brad. What do you think our main character's deal is? What is she up to?
I don't know, because I don't know. She moved away from where she was because she was getting bullied, and she got like that girl's mom hit her. Like, what the fuck? People just let that happen. Oh, because she was getting chased by dogs. Like, come on. So like, yeah, I mean, I assume that she's going to be in a new school. So
isn't it weird she's living on her own? I think that's more of a thing in Japan than it is in America.
It's something I've seen in a lot of series where it's like, because you can pick your high school, like a lot of times they're like, oh, I'm going to go to this really good high school. It's, way far away from where my parents live. So I have to have my own apartment or whatever.
So wild.
Or I'm going to live with a relative who lives there or something like that. So yeah, I don't think that was.
Isn't how Hema 10
strange,
is that for some reason that was the series that came to mind?
Yeah.
Isn't she essentially living? She's living with her aunt, even though she's technically like living on her own.
Her aunt owns the apartment,
but she's essentially living on her own,
or it's in her name. In Skip and Loafer, she
Loafer.
God, what's her
name? As opposed to Skip. I don't remember anybody's name.
She lives with her aunt.
Yeah, exactly. No, but that's just like a thing that's like so strange to me as a Westerner, I guess. But what do you want more of and what do you want less of?
I'm down for whatever, really. Okay. I mean, I think the first chapter was a lot of sort of backstory stuff, and so there's not really much of anything in terms of like, where is this going to go? Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, slice of life is fine. Just day-to-day stuff, people hanging out, people learning and growing. Like, yeah, let's go for that. I think there's probably going to be a couple instances over the course of the series of a dog ascending, and it's going to be sad.
Isn't that such a that it puts like such a strange but incredible timer on this series? Is that if we're going to slowly see them get closer, at some point, Mu-chan is going to ascend.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the saddest thing. And it's like, but it somehow gets to like, it gets to do the same thing, but also subvert the normal thing of like, the pet will die. And it's like, he's already dead, and it's kind of a second death, but it's brought on by joy.
Yeah.
So it's this like, there's so many like, the series has such a balance of like feeling where you go, well, if this was just a pet and she had to get used to it and then it would die naturally, like that's kind of like that's sad in its own way and has its own baggage. But here it's like, well, no, it's good because he's like ascending and it meant he had a good life and this is his second shot of life and his first life was much worse. But it's also like he's gone and that'll be really sad. Like it's just this like weird positive, not sad, positive, not positive thing looming somewhere in the far distance.
Although they mentioned something about like a 10-year lifespan or something like that.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing. Maybe they figure something out as they learn more things.
Well, but I was just thinking
they can just last that long.
If they're already dead, couldn't they just stay indefinitely?
I don't know. It's Brad. It's Japan. There's systems. There's always systems. Even the dead has systems.
Did you file your paperwork with your stamp?
What do you think King Yama? What do you think King Yama is doing at his mahogany desk?
Yeah.
Or the ogres down in Hiffle. What do you think they're doing? They're getting paid because they've got salaried jobs. But yeah, I think, do you have any other major things to cover? I feel like we haven't had a series in a while where I had like near that I had almost complete to what we know, Future Vision, and you had nothing. And I like it better when we don't know anything, actually.
Oh, I think I'm looking forward to meeting more of the dogs, like seeing what other personalities the dogs have. Mu-chan's obviously an interesting personality,
yeah,
but like there's a lot of range that you could have.
I think he's the only one that lives by himself,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting. And it's interesting how they kind of get around that concept then. But yeah. They're a hoot. They're fun to meet everybody. With that out of the way, what are your thinky thinks and your feely feels?
This is sort of a recurring theme lately, but I have the same feelings as my thoughts, which is great.
Great?
Yeah.
I think this is great. I think if I force myself just down to the first chapter, I feel this is great. If I include my painting of the other 20-some chapters I read, I think this series is fantastic at what it does. It just somehow perfectly balances a lot of the little emotional things. Because I feel like, and maybe just because I don't read a lot of them, so it's what I assume they are, or when I've seen not as good ones, but like sometimes slice of life stuff can feel a little too saccharine, maybe, or forced. And I never get that sensation. It always feels like I get a little finger prick of sadness, and then I get my boo-boo kissed and a little Band-Aid, and we have like a nice little emotional moment with whatever we're dealing with in a particular chapter. And also we can have a fun time because it's just a bunch of cute dogs and people doing silly stuff. So this is a great series.
No one can see you giving thumbs up.
Thank you for audio-atizing it. But no, I think this series is great. I feel like, I mean, the Fuck It We Ball arc, I feel like barring something not working out is going to be entirely, you should check this out.
Yeah.
But I don't know that because there's some that I have not read yet at time of recording.
Yeah.
That I have zero idea how I'll feel about them, even though people have been talking about them, which seems promising, but you never know. You know, I'm a prickly little bitch sometimes. You know it. You've listened to the podcast.
I just thought of this. You know how we were just like, oh, it's the secret exorcist arc.
Yeah.
We have a series coming up that actually is this is actually the secret exorcist arc 2. Did not do that on purpose.
Suicide is great. Would you buy this?
That's interesting. Yeah,
okay.
I would.
I was gonna say I'm gonna buy it. I mean, I kept reading it like fairly like without any extra prompting. Like it's one of the series I keep up with now. But I had a good enough time with the first one that I was intrigued enough to keep going without much.
I don't think this is
pushing.
This isn't like a wholehearted like I have to rush out and buy it, like with Bug Ego.
But it's not. It's by virtue of like. It's not a thing about intrigue. It's like a cozy thing you read. Yeah. It's not something I would read all the chapters next to each other.
This is the kind of I'll buy it where it's like, if I'm out and I see it, I'll grab it.
Yeah, you pick away at it. It's a cozy little read.
Yeah.
I was going to be like, I'll buy it and then you can borrow it then if you want to read it once I'm kind of slowly traipsed my way through it.
I'll get my own copy.
Yeah, there you
Eventually.
go. We continue to not need to high noon because we are in agreement that the series Shiba Inu Rooms is great. Shiba Inu Inn is what I want to keep calling it, despite the fact that it is not an inn, and that makes no sense.
We're just gonna have to shoot each other for fun.
we gotta do a shooty bang bang.
When's the last time we had a high noon?
I'd have to look at the episode list to remember. I can't get that on my tablet right now. It feels like it's been a hot second. I feel like
even the
Space Arc was fairly chill.
we might have
We agreed on the Space Captain, or on the your Isenines one.
Right.
That first 2 chapters.
Yeah,
were boring
because this
gray dog
first
shit.
chapter, man, we would have done a high noon there if I had been like,
Because
no,
we
I'm gonna
normally high
include the whole
noon,
thing.
even we high noon at least a little bit on those. So
Yeah.
maybe I feel like we're due one of those. Even though I feel like Sports Arc was a lot of that. Was a lot of me biting my own tongue. And I feel like this is why an Oops All Bangers arc can be interesting in a, hey, you should go read this, but maybe not always the most interesting in dialogue when
Stay
there's things to
tuned
dig in.
for the next arc.
I forgot what the next arc is. Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, stay tuned for a ride.
That's it's going to be an interesting month.
Hey-o. And with that, Brad, hit me with them plugs.
Fine.
Brad, hit me with them pugs. Hey-o, it's a dog. Waka waka.
Jesus
Awooga.
Christ.
Arr, arr. Wah, wah, wah.
Fuck it. Do your own plugs.
I'll find that Google Doc.
Well, as always, we want to thank Sugoi Mart for partnering with us. Sugoi Mart's a retailer of Japanese snacks, drinks, toys, and merch. All kinds of cool stuff you can't get outside Japan. You can check the link in the description or use code APR15 at checkout to get 15% off your first order. Come and let us know what you think. You can find our social media links on our website, animepodcasterreincarnation.com. Discord's the best way to come chat with us, so you can find the link up there. And also, don't forget to check out our Patreon. Our supporters get perks like getting to vote on what we cover on heroin addiction, getting bonus episodes, and getting the high-quality stereo version of the podcast early. And of course, we have to shout out our patrons. So first and foremost, at our noble tier, we have our marquee, Sir Cake Dwarf. At our reincarnator tier, we have Moon. And last but not least, at our commoner tier, we've got Rena. Thank you so much to all our patrons.
Thank you, Brad, for that. Thank you once again, everybody, for listening. Make sure you listen to all the podcasts on our feed line. And I want to pet that dog.
I want to pet that dog.
I want to pet that dog. Can I pet that dog?
Pet that dog.
Still can taste the not pancakes. I ate crepes. They were not pancakes. They were crepes. I had.
I really
golden
like
balls.
these pancakes, but they'd be so much better if there was just way less of them.
There was. Made a really good kind of crepe burrito. On today's episode, Bark Bork, it's Shiba Inu Rooms. On today's episode, Hug Your Doggies Tight, it's Shiba Inu Rooms. On today's episode, Pet Your Doggos, it's Shiba Inu Rooms.
Much episode, very Shiba Inu Rooms.
Much episode, very Bork, it's Shiba Inu Rooms. You can pick one of those. One of those will be less shit than the others. And now I got to come up with this bit.
That's a problem for future
Brad. Future
Hey,
you.
fuck you, dude.
Heck, fuck you, future Brad. Current Brad, you're my good friend. Future Brad, fuck him. He's not here. He won't be in my house. He'll be in his house. Some people get their squirrels from dangerous situations. Some people are squirrel-handed.
You can read it however you want, but
Some people get their thrills from dangerous situations.
there's one very specific
Okay,
direction in there. So
After learning about these, now I'm going to go into that voice. I did the thing I normally do, where I look at my phone instead of thinking about what the ending gag is. Like a dummy. Like
how's that ADD?
Stupid. As when I listen to the podcast, then again later, I cannot skip 15 seconds through the plugs. I know the plugs. I'm on the show. I hear them every week. I'm good. This is me doing it in reality, in real time.
You have another job to do while I'm doing that job.
Which is that which I don't do because I'm an idiot. And then I get here and I go, oh, I'm stupid.
No, that's why I'm the professional. I want to pet that dog.
Yeah, Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Can you do it back at me then when I do it? When just start kind of.
I just listened to the episode where we did that for Cat, on Pet That Cat.
What episode did we pet that cat?
So that was the Isekai about fluff stuff.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense.
And we were like, and I was like, I think that's a Tim and Eric thing. And then we went and looked it up, and it's, I want to meet that dad.
Oh, yeah, that one's that. But I want to pet that dog is just like a TikTok or a Vine or something.
Is it?
I think so. I don't think it's from a show. I think it's just from reality, to my knowledge. We can Google it then. Let me do the outro. Okay, I don't think you've seen the thing I'm talking about because you're not understanding the.
Nope, I have no idea.
Not understanding the assignment.
I just explained it to you, and you were like, "We'll look it up later."
I thought it was just the origin of it.
Do you want to do it again?
Do you want to do it now that you'll do that back at me?
You want me to do that part, or you want me to be the mom?
Oh no, I just thought you would also say I want to pet that dog with me. We go recruiting it or whatever you'd want to do that. What do you want to do with it now that you have
Both.
what I'm going? Okay,
just do it.
Okay. Can I pet that dog?
No.
Can I pet that dog?
No.
Can I pet that dog?
Pet that dog.
Pet that dog.
I'll pet that dog.
Pet that dog. There was one before I knew what the original was, where it's a little girl in a cabin with her parents pulling her back, attempting to pet a bear that is trying to come at the like railing, and they keep pulling her back, and you just keep, I want to pet that dog, and I thought maybe that was the original audio. I'm like, oh my gosh, what context? But it's that one that I played. It's just a little boy in his home. It's the southern twang that makes that one. That can't pet that dog.